Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tesla stock today is up about 2%. Okay, we're gonna lose the weird southern accent. We're in Florida and it's getting a little hot. Okay, I don't know how you guys do this. It's humid and sticky. Okay, in Michigan, I only have to deal with that like 3 months out the year. Okay, it's getting real hot in this hoodie. But Tesla up 2% today, and we have some news to cover. So that's what we're going to get into in this video. And honestly, if you look at the charts of Tesla, breakout coming, it definitely looks like the stock wants to extend the recent strength and potentially give a run to new all-time highs. So we're going to look at the option activity, all of the breaking news today, cover what's happening in the broader markets. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Check that link out down below in the description of today's episode if you guys want to come join the trading community. We're going out and finding the under the radar AI stocks. Okay? We want to be early in the winners. Okay? We don't want to buy the hypiest stocks at the highs. We want to find the winners before they're hyped up. Okay, that's where, even small positions can make you a lot of money. Now, let's go ahead and get started with your Tesla stock breaking news today. Now, first and foremost, we have this. Tesla is looking to hire a manufacturing engineer to contribute to the concept development and launch of battery manufacturing equipment for its cutting-edge next-generation Roadster vehicle. This is the first real sign that Roadster production is getting closer, even if it's still some time away. Quote, "In this role, you will take large-scale manufacturing systems for new battery products and architectures from early concept development stage through equipment launch, optimization, and handover to local operations teams. Battery development is at the heart of our company, and this is an exciting opportunity to work directly on the central challenges for the all-new Roadster product architecture while still in its early development stages." So this could be part of the reason why Tesla stock is moving higher, but I think generally speaking, you're starting to get more of Wall Street that is opening up, maybe accepting the idea that Elon's compensation package is going to be approved, okay? On betting markets like Kalshi, there's over a 90% chance that it's going to be approved. And investors like Gary Black have suggested that there's almost a 0% chance this contract or vote for the contract and does not get approved on November 6th. Okay? Almost a 0% chance. Like, it's not going to happen. Okay? As that confidence grows, the stock is going higher, but there still is a chance it is not approved. That's why I'm expecting the larger rally after November 6th. Waymo says that their fleet of robotaxis is now driving on average 286,000 fully autonomous miles per day, a 51% increase from February of 2025. Tesla has released a new XX bomber jacket for $195 to celebrate 20 years of the company. They say celebrating 20 years of transitioning the world to sustainable energy. The limited edition Tesla XX bomber jacket features a modern silhouette with a water-resilient exterior shell and fully lined interior. Now, I'm not a huge bomber jacket guy, but this one is really cool. I mean, just the gold and black alone is really cool, but you have the Roadster, Model S, Model X, Model 3, Model Y, Semi, and Cybertruck imprinted on the side here. The actual coordinates of, I believe that would be the Texas and Fremont factory. Not 100% sure there. I'm not a coordinates expert. And then the Tesla logo and XX here on the front. So this thing is really cool. And again, here you can see from yesterday, we talked about this in the video that came out yesterday, but Gary Black says there is a near zero chance that Tesla's shareholders will vote down Elon's new proposed comp plan at the November 6th shareholder meeting, as Wedbush analyst Dan Ives colorfully put it in a Yahoo Finance interview on October 23rd. Quote, "I have a better chance of starting for the New York Yankees than this comp package getting voted down." So, Wall Street is opening up, accepting potentially the idea that the package will be approved. And, as the odds grow higher, Tesla's stock grows higher in the process. But after November 6th, that's when I'm expecting the large rally. I do think, though, between now and next Thursday, November 6th, Tesla could make a run at all-time highs, right? Tesla could make a run towards the 490s or 500s. But after November 6th, that's when I'm expecting the large rally, right? That's when you get the final move that could send Tesla into the 600s by the end of this year. Here you can see estimates are, again, in the 90% range that Elon's compensation will be approved. You can see on Kelshi here, there is a 94% chance. So not 100%, but basically 100%, like very close to that. Now, November is historically the best month for Tesla, averaging a monthly return of 11.7%. Now, Dalton Brewer on X says rate cuts are Wednesday, Trump meeting with China's Xi on Thursday, and probably the biggest catalyst of all time on November 6th, voting and approval of Elon's comp package. Now, also, we have big tech earnings. This is something not a lot of people are talking about, but you really need to hear this. Big tech earnings, Meta, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Apple between Wednesday and after hours and Thursday in after hours. The VIX EQ, let's see where it is today. It was up a little bit. Yeah, it's up a little bit today, up about 0.25%. The VIX is actually up more today, up about 1.9%. But there is a lot of fear in single stocks right now, not a lot of fear in the headline S&P. So what that means and what that's really telling you is, again, there's a lot of fear around big tech earnings, around AI, specifically with those big tech earnings. This is causing Wall Street to short a lot of the momentum stocks, to short a lot of the stocks that have done well recently. That's why the Russell, even today, the Russell is down 0.2%. NASDAQ is up 0.3% because they're hedging with the Russell and still adding exposure in the NASDAQ, okay? Hence the VIX EQ that is, so high relative to the VIX, right? This is very elevated right now. But after big tech earnings, you're going to see volatility collapse, and that is going to trigger a lot of buying pressure, which add that to rate cuts, add that to Trump-Xi meeting on Thursday, and you're setting up in a very good way towards the end of this week, especially next week, for a larger rally. Now, Tesla did have a billboard spotted in Times Square as well over the last 24 hours. Yesterday, Tesla board chair Robin Denholm told CNBC, quote, "We do have a few other vehicles coming out that Elon is working on." So this could be partially some of the reason Tesla is moving higher as well. Also in the news today, Tesla China has secured production capacity of up to 2,500 Model Y Ls per week, which, simple math, say 2,500 times 52 weeks in a year, 130,000 Model Ys just from China per year. In option activity today from hedge funds and institutions, it's even more bullish than yesterday. You have 95 different trades totaling $96.37 million with a positive order value of 92%. So hedge funds and institutions, they're bullish, right? There's no other way to put it. You can kind of just tell that by the way that Tesla is moving higher in the last couple of days. But the option activity, is exceptional. Now, if you look at Tesla, shorts are covering on short positions. Okay, short interest recently, as of the end of September, early October, was around 3%. Today, 2.58%. with about $32.79 billion sold short in Tesla. Short sellers, they're covering on their short positions. Why? Because the comp package looks like it's going to be approved. Okay, and it looks like Tesla has a lot of momentum to the upside. Hedge funds and institutions, they do not want to be short in Tesla right now. I mean, would you want to be short in Tesla right now? Probably not. So they're taking the opportunity before the package is officially approved to cover on their short positions. Okay, even today, looks like about 829,000 shares or so are being covered on. So that's part of the upside we're seeing recently. In broader market news today, the percent of subprime auto loans that are 60 days or more overdue on their payments has hit an all-time high of 6.4% per FIT. Richmond Fed October Manufacturing Index falls to -4 with shipments that rise to +4. Conference Board consumers average 12-month inflation expectations remain somewhat elevated, inching up to 5.9% in October from 5.8% in September. And the Richmond Fed Composite Index came in at -4. The forecast was -12, and last month was -17. So that was definitely better than expected. The USCB Consumer Confidence came in at 94.6. The previous month was 94.2, and the forecast was 93.75. So you beat last month and came in better than expectations. It's not like a blowout number, but it does show, maybe the economy is doing okay. Maybe a little bit better than some people thought. Microsoft says that they have reached an agreement with OpenAI regarding its ownership stake. Under the new terms, Microsoft now holds a 27% stake in OpenAI, valued at $135 billion, and OpenAI has committed to purchasing $250 billion worth of Azure services. UPS reported better than expected earnings today, but they also announced that they have eliminated roughly 14,000 management roles so far in 2025, above the 20,000 cuts they previously said they were targeting, and has reduced their operations workforce by an additional 34,000 positions. The U.S. House Price Index month over month came in at +0.4%, where the previous month was -0.1%. U.S. Case-Shiller, this is for home prices, year over year came in at +1.6%. The previous month was 1.8%, so a little bit of a slowdown, which looks good for housing inflation. Trump is meeting NVIDIA's CEO tomorrow and says he wants to quote-unquote congratulate him. Look at this headline. Short sellers are on track for their worst year since 2020, and they are blaming retail investors. This is going to continue for months to come. This is only going to get more dramatic. If you're a short seller, be warned. The ADP reported today preliminary U.S. estimates of an average increase of 14,250 jobs. This is good, okay? We have a positive preliminary jobs report for what looks like October. So, that's a lot better than nothing. Although that's probably not high enough for the break-even rate. We probably have a break-even rate of 50,000 or so jobs per month, so it does put upward pressure on the unemployment rate. But there's, again, more jobs being added than lost, which I think in this market is good news, considering we don't have BLS data, so any data we get is important. Oracle's CEO says there is real value in AI. Demand far outpaces supply. And Oracle's CEO says he is not concerned about a quote-unquote AI bubble. Donald Trump says that Jerome Powell will be out in a few months. Trump on the Fed says the chairman is incompetent or a bad guy. Chinese and U.S. trade negotiators have lined up an array of agreements for Xi Jinping and Donald Trump to formally unveil this week. So Thursday is setting up to be a big day. We also had PayPal earnings today that beat on revenue as well as EPS, which that's one of those kind of bellwether indicators for the economy because over 400 million people use PayPal. So if the economy is really not doing great, you're going to see it show up in PayPal numbers. You're going to see it show up in credit card companies. You're going to see it show up everywhere related to the consumer. And it's not happening. Okay, it's just not happening. UPS had good numbers today. PayPal had good numbers. SoFi had good numbers. Visa reports today in after hours, they're going to be very important, okay? Depending on what Visa says, that's like the slam dunk, okay? If Visa says good things on the consumer and on the economy, then the economy's fine. If they say there's problems, then there's problems. I've always viewed earnings from like a Visa or Capital One or American Express as a lot more insightful than economic data from the BLS. I've never really thought the BLS was good at collecting data, but credit card companies, they know exactly what's going on with their consumers and users of their platform. Says, I'm confident that U.S.-Japanese friendship is strong. China reportedly will require influencers to prove their training in order to discuss sensitive topics such as medicine or finance. I feel like America should have that too. There's so many people that talk about markets that, just have no idea. Trump says that Bessent soothes the markets, thinking of Bessent for Fed, but he doesn't want it. PayPal and OpenAI have signed a deal to make PayPal the first payments wallet inside of ChatGPT. Trump says, I think the meeting with Xi will work out well. U.S. Commerce Secretary Lutnick says Trump will sign $490 billion in investment deals. And again, as I said, UPS beat earnings today. Revenue came in at $21.4 billion. The estimate was $20.9 billion. With adjusted EPS that came in at $1.74 versus estimates of $1.34. So very strong earnings with a good guidance. For Q4 revenue, they're projecting $24 billion. The estimate was $23.83 billion. I don't know how much this moves markets these days, but I'll share the headline anyways. Israeli Prime Minister says Hamas has violated the ceasefire. This headline says Fed is expected to stay cautious ahead of rate decision. Credit Mutual says the Federal Reserve will likely take a cautious stance at Wednesday's meeting amid limited economic data from the government shutdown. Chair Jerome Powell is expected to describe growth as solid and the labor market as balanced, but facing mild downside risks. Inflation expectations remain stable, and labor market softness isn't seen driving prices higher. The Fed is widely expected to cut rates by 25 basis points with attention on its outlook comments. And we're also expecting Jerome Powell and the Fed to likely end quantitative tightening, which should be really good for markets as well. Now, Amazon says AI is the most transformative technology since the internet, which is something we've talked about and continue to talk about regularly on this channel. I mean, AI is the biggest thing to happen since the internet. Like, are we in a bubble right now? No. AI is in its infancy. Will we be in a bubble one day? Probably. When does that happen? Your guess is as good as mine. Trump says that Toyota is building plants in the U.S. worth up to $10 billion. The CNN Fear and Greed Index today is still in fear territory at 41, although is approaching the neutral level, which is above 45. Yesterday, you were at 37. Market momentum is extreme greed. Stock price strength is fear. Stock price breadth, extreme fear. Again, the difference between the VIX and the VIX EQ. Stock price breadth being in extreme fear means that, a good chunk of this market has not been participating, although it's getting a little bit better since October 17th at the low. I think that's going to get more dramatic into the end of this week, right? I think by Friday, you're really going to see momentum come back to life. You're really going to see the AI trade come back to life in a big way, and small caps following, again, the collapse in volatility in single stocks, following the Fed's rate cut and likely the end to QT, and what should be a trade deal or some kind of trade framework announced between the U.S. and China, right? All of that is going to fuel stocks, especially towards the end of this week, specifically on Friday into the following week. And maybe this is what kickstarts the rally into the end of the year, right? That would be my guess. Now, put and call options sitting at greed. Market volatility is neutral. Safe haven demand is fear, and junk bond demand in extreme fear. Again, we don't have a new AI investor sentiment survey until Thursday, but last we knew bullish investors were at 36.9%, bearish investors at 42.7%, and neutral investors at 20.5%. So, there's still more bears than bulls, which is a green flag that stocks are going higher. Now today, you actually have the percent of stocks trading above their 50-day moving average down about 3% to 49.07%. So 51% of stocks are below their 50-day moving average. So again, stock price breadth being an extreme fear over on, the CNN Fear and Greed Index. I'm not surprised 51% of stocks are below their 50-day moving average. To me, that just means people are bearish. There's room for upside on positive news. And I think that's what we're going to get later into this week. And specifically for Tesla, look at the stock. You don't have to be a market technician to see Tesla wants to rally hard here. Okay. Now, again, you could rally to like $500 a share. I could see that as a plausible outcome between now and next Thursday, which is November 6th, the shareholder meeting for Elon's compensation package. But to get above 500, to really get to like $600, I think you need the vote to pass. I think we need to see the vote actually pass to get a rally like that. But that would be my call, right? That's why I think Tesla could be in the 600s by the end of this year. So let me know your thoughts on that down below in the comment section. The RSI is only at 61 as well, so there's plenty of room to rally to the upside. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comment section. If you guys want to come join the trading community, check that link out down below in the description of this video as well. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.